All day I've been singing. I know Sekou on the other side has been doing this too. Skilos, I wish I was a little bit taller. As we welcome you into the free agent fever here in Atlanta. I wish I was a little bit taller. I want to know as I get to our architect Billy King and 3D Dennis Scott. Do you want to take some jumpers and get back out there? How about the money? 23 deals, 3D.
I'm super happy for a lot of these guys because they obviously deserve it. We've been teasing about going back to and messing with our moms and dads, saying some of us were born too early. But at the end of the day, some of these GMs are going out there, going and making some of these moves, trying to turn the franchise around. If you're in the Eastern Conference with Dwight Howard, it's plain simple. The Cleveland Cavaliers have kicked the Hawks' butt the last 2 years. Bringing in Dwight Howard, that helps them out.
You know about Billy yourself, how tough these moves are to make. Not necessarily about whether or not you think the guy's worth it. It's, is he worth it for your team?
Well, and that's how you got to look at it. You got to look at it for your team. Do they fit? And how do they fit for your team? A lot of guys are saying this guy's not worth it, but if you need a center, you got to go pay. And the market determines how much they're going to get. So I think teams went out there and said, we need this guy. Agents said, if you don't give it to me, somebody else. And that's what happens this time. There's so much cap space. Everybody has room, so you've got to pay and pay quickly.
Well, we know our first guest is worth it, and wearing out the local Starbucks as well as our own David Aldridge. DA, let's start with Dwight Howard. Talk about how the 3-year deal came together and what was the sinking point and the culmination, if you will, of that pushing over the edge in the deal for Dwight to come home.
Well, look, I think, you know, for Dwight, I think he wanted this. You know, I think he wanted to have an opportunity to return back to Atlanta where he played in high school, and I think he wanted a place he felt comfortable in. He took a chance going to the Lakers. He took a chance going to Houston. They didn't work out. I think from a basketball standpoint, this is a better fit for him. You know, the Hawks have been very good the last 2 years. They've been winning. But to 3D's point, they've gotten pushed around a little bit in the middle the last couple of years. And with Dwight Howard, you would think that would stop. It would at least begin to stop. So, and considering all the money that's been thrown around, I don't think $23 million per year for Dwight Howard is all that bad, frankly. I mean, I still think Dwight's got some tread left on his tires. He just needs to be in a place now. The interesting thing to me is, can they get him the ball? You know, that's going to be the interesting thing to me. How do they get him the basketball where he likes to operate? And this is where the roster construction is going to be very interesting. From everything I've been told, they want to re-sign Al Horford. They're going to try to re-sign Al Horford. But we've talked about that 5th year being an issue, and I think it continues to be an issue. And that's why Boston's in town tonight to try and work out a deal with Al Horford. So, you know, it's an interesting call. I mean, you know, the Hawks are not a finished product, and Dwight's not making that much more than he gave up. Remember, he opted out of the last year of his deal in Houston. But I think he feels like it's a better fit just in terms of, you know, the city and maybe the team. So it's a reasonable gamble, and I don't think the Hawks were wrong to pursue it.
You know, DA, you mentioned Al Horford. Does this deal make it more likely or less likely that Al would come back to Atlanta? And if not the Hawks, how about going back to Billy Donovan and going to OKC? How much is that an option for him?
Well, look, I think it's an option, but I also think Boston's an option. Clearly, if the Hawks are not going to give him a 5th year, you know, either of those two teams is an issue. Now the question is, is there a place that Oklahoma City could move Enes Kanter? I suppose there probably will be, for the simple reason that, you know, there's going to be teams looking for people to bring in that haven't signed anybody yet. You know, they're looking for centers. I mean, just say this is not based on any information, but why wouldn't Dallas take Enes Kanter, for example? I mean, if they try to get Whiteside, they missed on him. So you get a younger guy for less money. So why wouldn't you do that per year? So that's a possibility. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but so I think that scenario's there. But I think the Boston one is easier. You can just sign there. They don't have to make any moves, and that's why I think they're trying to get that done. But I don't believe the Hawks are out of this yet. I think they're going to try to re-sign him. The question, I believe, is that 5th year.
You know, guys, we talk about Dwight. And, Billy, I want to go to exactly what they were talking about at the desk. Based on the personnel and the player Dwight is and the system that Mike wants to run, does he fit within that system?
Well, I think he does, because if he's setting the screen for Kyle Korver, Kyle's very good as he comes off that screen, hitting the slip man, because guys want to get out and take away Kyle's 3. So he'll be there for that lob, and I think he'll be there for rebounds, offensive rebounds. And they need a guy in the present defense that can block some shots, and that's Dwight. And I think their personality on this team fits Dwight. It's a lot like Orlando. J.J. Redick was like Kyle Korver, you know. So this personnel is very similar, and their personalities fit him a lot better. There's not a huge star like he played with in L.A. or in Houston. These guys are more a team atmosphere, and it's all about the team. So I think he does fit personality-wise, and I think this could be a place for Dwight to flourish back like he did in Orlando.
You know, you talk about flourish. What kind of player are we getting? Are we getting a Dwight Howard that's focused and motivated, and how big is that the question?
Well, that's one question. The second biggest question is his health. Are you 80%, 85%? How's the knee? How's the shoulder? How's the back?
Right.
You know, you've had surgeries. If that guy's coming back, Bill, and he's ready to give me that bounce and really be a defensive force we know he could be, I welcome him, and now we ride on that. Offensively, you know you're not going to throw the ball down in the post. I thought 2 years ago, I think it was against Portland, they kept throwing the basketball. He had those big numbers. Fourth quarter, no defense, no rebounding, legs were shot, because that's not how he's built. So with Coach Bud, I look for him to be a lot of movement with him, a lot of pick and roll to the back, a lot of spinning, not so much throwing the ball and let him pound, and attack his man. If that Dwight shows up, I think Atlanta could be ready to go.
But as you say, injuries, when you're not happy where you are, those injuries are more pronounced.
Yes.
When you're happy, you can go play with that bad knee a little bit. So I think he'll be a lot happier here. I think Bud knows. I mean, they've watched film on the one thing is Atlanta wanted him when he was a free agent leaving L.A., but they didn't get a chance. So they already know him. He knows a little bit about them. He knows about Atlanta. So I think this is a perfect fit for him.
You know, now you wonder about the personnel, Dennis, the rest of the way. Kent Bazemore, you've got Al Horford. If Horford doesn't come back, would you bring Bazemore back? They can't bring both, it doesn't seem like, cap-wise. So
well, I'm going to go back to earlier today. We talked about draft night when Jeff Teague got traded. Remember, Jameer Nelson and Dwight, they were boys. Yeah. That's another reason why that clicked so well in Orlando. Can he and what I call Little Goldie, Dennis Schroeder, can they get along? Because when Little Goldie turns that corner, Billy, Little Goldie trying to get to the basket.
I think he made lob. He
might throw a lob every now and then. I know those highlights fool a lot of people. He threw Al Horford a few lobs, but Little Goldie's looking to score. Now, you change that mindset, and he understands that there's Dwight right here, there's Al Horford there. I need to feed these big guys because they're going to protect me on the defensive end. I think it might work.
Jarrett Jack?
Oh, definitely. We've been talking about that all day.
Well, I think he's a good fit. I think he's a good fit off the bench for them.
Well, a lot of decisions to be made. Some haven't been.